Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? I hope that you are all well and in good spirits. As for me, I am also doing fine, feeling grateful for another beautiful day. As you can see through the camera, a truly magnificent morning has dawned upon our quiet little village. The eastern sky has just begun to show its first blush of light, and the first golden rays of the morning sun, like a gentle artist's brush, are softly sweeping across the land, painting the thatch of our roof and the leaves in the yard with a warm and almost holy glow. The air is filled with the fresh scent of the earth after a night's rain, mixed with the faint, sweet fragrance of the nameless wildflowers growing in our yard. Every breath I take feels like a deep, cleansing ritual for the soul. My day, as it usually does, has begun with the most basic, a little mundane, yet profoundly meaningful chores of our home. As a single mother, I know my life might not be filled with the grand adventures many dream of, but for me, being able to prepare a warm meal for my children in the quiet of the morning and watching them grow up healthy and happy right beside me, this is the most beautiful adventure I could ever ask for. My day usually begins when I'm gently awakened by the first mischievous rays of dawn and the lively sounds of our little homestead already stirring to life. I slowly open my still sleepy eyes, and through the faint light filtering in through the cracks in our window, I take a moment to gaze at my precious son, sleeping so peacefully beside me like a little angel. A sweet, contented smile rests on his face, and I wonder what wonderful adventures he must be having in his dreams. Looking at him, my heart fills with an indescribable love and a profound sense of peace. I know he is the most precious gift God has ever given me, although raising him alone is filled with hardships and endless challenges. Every time I see his serene, sleeping face, I feel that every sacrifice, every ounce of effort, is absolutely worth it. I carefully sit up on our small bed, which has been warmed by our body heat through the night, trying my best not to disturb his beautiful dreams. I put on my old clothes, faded from countless washes but always clean, and then, as quietly as a mouse, I slip out of the room that holds all my love and all my dreams. I know a new day has begun, and with it, my own small but important responsibilities await me. While my son is still journeying through his sweet dreamland, my busy day has already well and truly begun. I know I have a very important task ahead of me, to prepare a special, hearty meal for our little family. I start by heading to our small vegetable patch in the backyard with my children. Together, we begin to harvest some of the freshest, most tender leafy greens. I carefully teach them how to tell which leaves are the best for picking and which are too old. My children listen so attentively, and with their chubby little hands, they carefully mimic my actions, picking the vibrant green leaves one by one. The sunlight filters through the trees, casting dappled shadows on their innocent, focused faces. Occasionally, they'll let out a cheer of excitement when they pick a particularly large leaf, and their clear, bright laughter echoes through the garden. For me, this isn't just a simple chore. It's a living, breathing lesson about nature, about love, and about the responsibility we have to care for the things that sustain us. It's a precious bonding time. The three of us quickly gather a basket full of fresh leaves. Afterwards, we all go to the water tap in our yard. I pour the basket of fresh greens into a large basin filled with clean water. The three of us gather around the basin and begin to wash the leaves meticulously, one by one. My children have the best time, turning the task of washing vegetables into a fun game. Clear water splashes onto their adorable, smiling faces from time to time, making them erupt in peals of laughter. When all the vegetables are washed clean and giving off a light, fresh scent, my heart fills with a small, yet solid sense of accomplishment. I set them aside to drain. These generous gifts from nature will be the healthiest and most delicious part of our dinner tonight. Here's a little life tip for all of you watching. When you're washing leafy greens, Adding a little bit of salt to the water not only helps to more effectively remove any tiny bugs or dirt, but it also helps the vegetables retain their vibrant green color even after cooking. After preparing the vegetables, I start to get the main course for our dinner ready. From a corner of the kitchen, I take out a piece of fresh meat that I bought from the market this morning. I know that for our humble family this is quite a luxury, but I also know that my children are growing, and they need plenty of good nutrition to be strong and healthy. I carefully rinse the meat under clean water. I then take my heavy, trusty cleaver, a tool that has been with me for many years, its blade glinting softly in the afternoon light. With all my strength, I begin to chop the tough piece of meat, first into small strips, and then, using the back of the blade, I repeatedly and tirelessly pound and mince it. The kitchen is immediately filled with the rhythmic, crisp thump, thump, thump sound. This sound is all too familiar to me. It's the main melody of my day-to-day monotonous life, and it's also the powerful battle song I play as a mother, striving to nurture my children. After mincing all the meat, I take some more fresh leafy greens from our backyard garden. I wash them thoroughly with clean water as well, and then finally chop them with my knife. Next, I put the minced meat and the chopped vegetables together into a large earthenware bowl, add a little bit of our homemade pickles, and some of the simplest seasonings. Then, I extend my already clean hands and begin to earnestly mix them all together. I can feel the distinct textures of the different ingredients, some rough, some smooth, under my fingertips. This simple process for me is filled with a sense of sacred ritual. It feels as if I am kneading my love, my hopes, and all my best wishes as a mother for my children, bit by bit, into these seemingly ordinary ingredients. I hope these foods, filled with the energy of nature, will help my children grow up healthier and stronger. I hope they can taste a mother's love in these simple dishes. With all the prep work done, I begin the main cooking. I place our clean iron wok onto the stove, which is already burning with a roaring fire. Then I pour the marinated mixture of meat and vegetables into the wok. With an inviting sizzle, a rich, mouth-watering aroma of meat and vegetables immediately fills the air. I stir-fry them quickly with a spatula, ensuring every piece of the ingredients is evenly heated. Then, I add enough freshly boiled water to the wok, cover it with the heavy, tight-fitting wooden lid, and let it simmer slowly, bubbling away. I know that time is the best magician. It will turn these simple ingredients into a warm, delicious home-cooked meal. The slow cooking process allows all the flavors to meld together, creating a dish that is not only tasty, but also incredibly comforting, perfect for a family meal at the end of the day. While waiting for the dish to simmer and for the flavors to develop, I don't stay idle. I know that a perfect meal must have fluffy, delicious rice to go with the savory dishes. So, I walk over to the rice container, which holds our family's lifeline, and expertly scoop out enough glistening white rice for the three of us. I pour the rice into a washing basin and, again, use the cool, clear well water to patiently wash it, over and over. I watch the milky white rice water slowly slip through my fingers, and I see the white rice grains, under my gentle rubbing, become cleaner and more translucent. This process, though simple, is full of a zen-like quality for me. I feel as if I can sense a kind of life's groundedness and tranquility from this simple act of washing rice. After it is washed, I put the rice into our old, black iron pot that has been with us for many years, add the right amount of water, and then place it on our most primitive stove, built from mud and bricks. I skillfully light the firewood, watching the orange-red warm flames cheerfully lick the bottom of the black pot. With all the food now bubbling and singing merrily on the stove, I can finally take a little breather. I walk over to my children, who are engrossed in playing with their beloved toys in the yard, squat down, and pull them into a big hug, one by one. They seem to feel the warm scent of firewood and food on their mother. They look up, their pure black gem-like eyes gazing at me, Their eyes are full of attachment and trust. At that moment, I feel all my fatigue and hard work completely healed by their small, warm gestures. I tell them that a delicious dinner will be ready soon. They immediately let out excited, babbling sounds. Their faces are full of anticipation for the upcoming delicious meal, and seeing their happiness is the greatest reward for my efforts.
When all the dishes are cooked and the aroma is wafting through the air, the rice in the pot is also perfectly steamed. I carefully lift the heavy lid, and a warm white cloud of steam mixed with the scents of rice, vegetables, and firewood immediately rushes to my face. I take a deep breath, feeling as if all my tiredness has been washed away in an instant by this aroma filled with happiness. I use a rice paddle to serve the fluffy, delicious rice into 3 clean, rustic ceramic bowls that I've already prepared. Then I also dish out the home-cooked meal, which has been stewed until tender and flavorful and is filled with my heart, one by one. I carefully carry these dishes filled with love and warmth to the small, low wooden table we use for our meals. Then I call my children to come over and eat. Our family of 3 happily and harmoniously sits around the table and begins our dinner. The night has fallen like a huge, deep blue velvet curtain, slowly descending. A few mischievous stars have already eagerly blinked their bright eyes in the deep blue night sky. I first carefully feed my 2 children, who have been waiting impatiently, mouthful by mouthful. Then I also pick up my chopsticks and start eating with big mouthfuls. We are all starving and eat with great gusto. Watching my children's cute, contented faces, I feel all my fatigue and hard work vanish in an instant. I know that all the effort and sweat I put in today was worth it, because with my efforts I have earned their health and happiness. This, for me as a mother, is the greatest happiness. After finishing this simple yet satisfying dinner, I don't rest right away. I know there is one last important task waiting for me, and that is to thoroughly wash the pile of dirty dishes we just used. So I collect all the dirty dishes and put them in a large wooden basin. Then I boil another large pot of water. I pour the hot water into the large wooden basin and add some cool water to it. I reach in and test the temperature. The warm, just right water feels comfortable. Then I soak the dirty dishes one by one in the warm soapberry-scented water. I roll up my sleeves and start scrubbing them vigorously with my rough hands, which are long accustomed to this kind of work. The repetitive motion is calming, and it gives me a moment to reflect on the day. I quietly wash the dishes under the eaves. My children, meanwhile, are playing guai chowli in the yard nearby with their little toys, not crying or making a fuss, just occasionally letting out a cheer of excitement over some new discovery. Their clear, innocent laughter is my only solace in this tedious and hard work. When the last bowl is also wiped clean and can reflect my blurry image, my heart is also filled with a small, solid sense of accomplishment. Having clean dishes ready for the next meal is a small victory, a little bit of order I can create in our simple lives. It's a way of showing love by making sure everything is ready and clean for my family. This daily rhythm of chores, though tiring, provides a structure and a sense of purpose to my days. After washing all the dishes, it is finally time to rest. I know my children have also played all day and are a bit tired. I carry them, one by one, back to our humble but warm and comfortable room. First, I carefully wash away all the dust and fatigue from their bodies. Then I settle them one by one onto the small bed that has long been warmed by the body heat of our family of 3. I hold them in my arms and in my gentlest, most emotional voice begin to tell them wonderful stories about building, creating, and home. The stories are simple, about little animals who work together to build their nests, just like we work to build our home and our life. The sound of my voice seems to have a hypnotic magic. Soon their eyelids begin to get heavier and heavier, and their breathing becomes deeper and more even. It isn't long before they drift off to sleep with a sweet smile on their faces. When my children are finally sleeping peacefully in my arms, I carefully lay their small bodies down